Okay, let's just jump right into this with a quote that completely, and I mean literally completely, flipped how I think about failure. If one fish dies, check the fish. If 50 fish die, check the pond. It's an incredibly powerful metaphor, isn't it? I mean, think about it. If the exact same failures just keep happening at work, maybe, just maybe, it's not a people problem. Maybe we're actually looking at a system issue.
So welcome to this explainer. Today we are unpacking Nathaniel Miller Sr.'s absolutely brilliant system leadership manual, Fix the Pond. We're going to focus entirely on how mature leaders stop relying on constant, exhausting heroics from their team and start building actual operating environments, the pond, where people have a genuine fighting chance to succeed under real, everyday pressure.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The blame reflex. 2. Inspect the pond. 3. The 5 leadership disciplines. 4. The operating spine. And finally, 5. A fighting chance. By the end of this, you'll have a complete toolkit for fixing your own organizational pond.
Let's start with Section 1, the blame reflex.
Now, if you are a leader, you have definitely felt the absolute frustration of the exact same error repeating across different shifts or different sites, right? The traditional blame reflex just rushes in to name a person and prescribe more training. It always asks, who failed? But the accountability after analysis approach? Well, it takes a breath. It asks a much better question. What made the failure predictable? True accountability means we define the condition and evaluate the standard first.
Moving right along to Section 2, inspect the pond.
To stop this maddening cycle of recurring failures, we have to make a massive paradigm shift. We have to move our inspection away from the highly visible individual who made the error and toward the invisible water they swim in. This pond is the complete operating environment shaping performance. It's the standards, the tools, workload, implied incentives, and psychological safety. Taking ownership of these specific conditions, that is the true unit of leadership.
All right, let's get into the how-to with Section 3, the 5 leadership disciplines.
So, to transition from just understanding the pond to actually fixing it, we use the pond builder system. These 5 disciplines, system ownership, capacity engineering, predictive visibility, embedded learning, and culture shaping, they all interlock to create a truly resilient environment. Let's walk through them one by one.
First up is system ownership. This is all about accepting responsibility for the conditions that shape performance, rather than just demanding daily heroics from your team. A mature system isn't mature because one really strong leader runs around putting out fires all day. It's mature when the standard survives even after that specific leader leaves the room. Next, we have capacity engineering. You absolutely must match demand with usable time and tools. The source material shares this fascinating case study of a team constantly missing a service target. Well, leaders just assumed it was an effort problem, so they pushed all these individual performance plans. But a capacity map revealed that demand peaked exactly when the most experienced staff were stuck doing administrative tasks. They moved the admin work, and boom, performance immediately improved. It wasn't a lack of caring at all. It was a lack of usable capacity.
Our third discipline is predictive visibility. This means identifying weak signals, like a cluster of near misses, before they become strong consequences. But here is the absolutely critical part. It requires a governed response. Just having a dashboard that shows risk isn't enough. Actually, scratch that. A dashboard is great, but visibility only informs. Control is what actually protects.
The fourth discipline is embedded learning. So often, organizations think they've learned from an event just because they sent out a quick bulletin or updated some dusty database. But lessons are only truly learned when the system's design physically changes as a result. Experience must literally be turned into updated standards, workflows, or concrete controls. And finally, culture shaping. Listen, this isn't about slapping some motivational posters on the break room wall. Culture is shaped by what the operating system repeatedly permits, rewards, and verifies. If an organization says it values safety, but turns a blind eye to shortcuts when production is behind, well, the employees will learn exactly what the real culture is. You have to align your formal expectations with the lived system.
This brings us to Section 4, the operating spine.
If the 5 disciplines are what resilient leaders build, the operating spine is the hard operational governance that ensures the pond actually stays fixed. It's this cyclical execution loop: define, control, verify, and sustain. This framework literally forces an organization to define problems plainly in observable facts before anyone even starts debating solutions.
To keep everything from just drifting back to the status quo, abstract ideas must become concrete controls. A control is only real if it acts at the last responsible moment. To hold up, a control needs three things: a barrier that actually changes the probability of failure, a single owner so responsibility doesn't just dissolve into a group, and proof to prevent storytelling from replacing hard evidence.
Speaking of proof, that proof has to be proportional to your exposure. Level 1 is simple attestation, just someone saying, yeah, I did it. But level 5, that's outcome validation, showing the exposure dropped and actually stayed down. The main takeaway here is that you absolutely cannot close out high-consequence exposures with low-level proof like a simple conversation. No way.
And if you skip the sustain phase of that operating spine we talked about, you end up with this incredibly sticky concept, rented performance. Rented performance is improvement that survives only while a specific leader is watching. You don't actually own the capability, you are just borrowing a leader's attention. A truly resilient system embeds the standard so deeply that it survives turnover, fatigue, the whole shebang.
Finally, we reach Section 5, a fighting chance.
This brings us to the real emotional and ethical payoff of everything we've talked about today. I want to hit you with this direct provocation. Does your system give people a fighting chance to succeed? Like, under real operating pressure, with realistic staffing and realistic tools, is compliance actually possible? Or does success in your pond require perfect memory, zero interruptions, and just exceptional luck?
The author shares a really powerful realization here. Fixing the pond isn't about excusing reckless choices. Leadership isn't about lowering expectations for people at all. Rather, it is about raising the standard of the system. Expecting great things from your employees demands that you first design an environment where those great things are reasonably possible.
A problem is not solved until it stays solved. So I want you to look at your own organization today. When the exact same issues pop up over and over again, are you still just blaming the fish, or are you finally ready to do the hard, disciplined work to fix the pond?